come to Ibrahim, you think we are overly politicizing this matter? We should deal with the issue head on and leave the politics out.
Nana Tufo, good morning to you.
Good morning,
and my
Ibrahim.
colleagues as well, and our viewers and listeners. There's only one party politicizing this,
Which
and that's
is?
the NDC,
How
the
so?
government. I'll explain in a minute. But before I lose my train of thought,
Sure.
just to quickly inform my brother Elikem, on Joy FM, Reverend Ntim Fojo was in fact invited for a segment of the program. He stayed, completed his segment, left the studio after finishing his segment. On his way out, his replacement was coming in. So he did not walk out of the studio. That's the reality.
Very well.
You know, sometimes you're given a part to play on the program. You don't sit for the whole program, as you're aware. Good. Now, coming back to the issue as to who is politicizing it, it's clearly the NDC. Why do I say so? Article 93 and 103 of the 1992 Constitution gives Parliament oversight over public institutions. What Reverend Ntim did at their committee level, they were given intel. He's not a kotoka giving this information on the Kavok flight, AN12B, or the AirMed lab, N823AM. Is he there? He's not there. But intel, and oftentimes we work on intel, came to the committee, which is a part, and they shared it in the interest of making the public institutions accountable and to render the relevant information. That there's been an expose, we've received intel, address it. Where, in any way, shape, or form, is this communication an attack on the NDC government or John Mahama's administration? And to John Mahama's, the president's credit, he said, given the intel, I'm going to instruct these institutions to get to the bottom of the fact. So when I started looking at Honorable Felix Ofosu Kwakye's posture, the derogatory way in which he is insulting Reverend Ntim, his fellow member of parliament, calling him what? Osofo Moko, and a clown on his social media page, then I sat back and said, hold on. How is this information, call it allegation, enough to warrant you, Felix Ofosu Kwakye, to somehow be being a spokesperson for the cartels that are alleged to be working? I've mentioned already, $350 million worth of cocaine found at Central Region, Cape Coast.
Yeah.
Am I right? It came from somewhere. And the ports of entry are either where? Kotoka or the Tema port. Which means that we have leakages within our entry port systems. I'm thinking, you mentioned about 450 million, Paul, additional seizures.
Yeah. There's been about three or so just this year.
Yes, as anybody accused government of being complicit. Look at the narrative. Nobody, although there was one in, I think Takrady, they said allegedly NDC member or member of parliament. But let's put that aside. In the main one in Cape Coast, look at the narrative from NPP. We rather applauded the institutions for transparency.
You know, Ntim Fojo has actually made that allegation and linked one of the cocaine busts to an NDC
Yes,
MP.
and I just mentioned that. I just mentioned that in my submission. But other than that, the main one, the Cape Coast one, $350 million, $924. Look, we can all go on the social media. I'm talking from those within the party.
Right.
As for the rank and file, everybody can give their opinions. I even read one NDC member on social media saying, we don't care about the drugs. What about what you did to our taxes? And I sat there and said, are you Ghanaian? Are you mature? And the is 100% right. We are Ghanaian first. So this, you know, it's my party's in power, so I won't criticize. I'm talking about the social media posts that I read. So when I saw and heard Felix Ofosu Kwakye's posture, suddenly alarm bells started ringing. Because what Ntim Fojo has done is his parliamentary duty to put the institutions on notice. Charlie, we've heard something at the committee level. Give us further...
by virtue of his position, even on the committee, you think he couldn't have formally requested information on this without organizing a presser?
you can do so, but I mean, this is of national interest. Why should it always be in camera, closed doors? When the police narcotics informed us about, what do you call it, the bust at Cape Coast, couldn't they have done that in the presser? I'm sorry, without coming into the open? You have to let the truth breathe. You know, it's not about, some kind of closed door. That's where you feel that, hey, there's a cabal at work.
You see, closed door, not necessarily like covering up, but you could have worked with the agency's backdoor until at a point where there's enough evidence to be communicated to the public.
I fully disagree and respectfully disagree. Sometimes we need to throw sunlight on what is happening. You know, the parliamentarians there work for us. They're not there to somehow keep information. We send them there. So if you see something, say something.
But then there's the national image and the implications of what some of these things are.
So that's the national image that you're talking about. Allow the institutions to work. Then the international community will say that Ghana is working. Because when they see something, they don't do a cabal, keep it under wraps, they expose it. Meanwhile, Felix Ofosu Kwakye is somehow, and no way I can't fathom, defending those cartels who are being alleged. There's such a thing as liquid cocaine. Search for it now as you Google. These drug traffickers are getting smarter. They're putting liquid cocaine in oil, in shampoo, and then soda waters like this. Later, they can then reconstitute it and get the powder out. So when I saw the evidence, Nana Tufo, that, the covered airplane had arrived and government has released footage showing that proper, inspection had been done. And we saw the jerry cans. And I said, sometimes you can hide drugs in plain sight. So you saw jerry cans. Bear in mind that the Air Med Lab, the plane that arrived on March 20th, N823 AM, for 5 days, said landing gear problem. Am I right? And some bleeding of the brake fluid and what have you. Okay, let's take it as read. Then it received tires, new tires to repair the old one. Let's again take that. We need to ask, those tires that were brought in, did they go the same rigorous inspection? Because people smuggle drugs and currency in the vacuum of the tires. We know this happens. We know when you're coming from a flower to, a flower to then where? Togo, Lome. From Lome, you go to Benin, Cotonou, am I right? Then you get to Seme, the border with Nigeria. They'll open your boots, check your glove compartment. Do they check your spare tire? Or the tires on the four tires on your cars? That's where a lot of drug, let's say, shipments are concealed inside the thing you will never think of. So when those fresh tires came to replace the tires at N823 AM, we need to ask. That is why the NPP is asking civil aviation. We want a full record and audit of what you inspected, when you inspected it, so the public, the Ghanaians, can have better confidence. Because those tires came in. Let's say you've inspected the first flight. It's come in. It's there for 5 days. A replacement tire comes in, tires. Did you check those ones? Sako Obiame. Did you check it? Because it's smoke and mirrors. Let them check this one. You check my drink. And then I borrowed this one from my brother Eliken. You check my one, but I'm just drinking this one. But meanwhile, this is where the real thing is. You get me? Secondly, I went on flight to where? Felix Ofosu Kwakye told us that the Kavok plane that came to rescue the Air Med Lab, that had no medical patients at all, went through Rwanda. Now, flight N823 AM, when you go to the flight to where, it's there. It gives you the flight history. When it left here on 25th, went to Gran Canaria, then went to Bangor International Airport in USA. I mean, it's all there. I'm sure that those of us have looked at that. But the Kavok plane is not, you can't track its data. It's a private plane by the way, Nana Tufo. Whether you're private or public or a commercial flight, your flight needs to be captured. So Felix Ofosu Kwakye needs to come and answer that question. He told us it came from Rwanda, then Lagos, and then to Accra. I checked. When I checked, I didn't see it. If your camera can catch.
And it's the Kavok.
This is the NA23M. Just go to flightaware.com. It's free, no subscription, no payments. You put in the flight number and then it'll tell you its history.
Yeah.
So the Air Med Lab one is there. Went to Massachusetts after this one. Yeah. Then they went to Germany. It's there. Today is what? April 7th.
Yeah.
So from March 25th, the flight is there.
Can get all the details of wherever it's been.
But the one Felix Ofosu Kwakye told us came from Rwanda. Is not there at all. I would want to be proven wrong. I'm not here saying I know everything. We all work on intelligence and intel. Right now, we have information at our fingertips. So as you talk, we can counter. And as I also counter, you can you say, Ibrahim, you're lying. It's not captured. So we need to ask ourselves, why was that flight not captured? There was a light-off at Kotoka recently. Okay, you remember?
Yeah.
How? With all our gen sets there. And this is fix the Dumso. Good. But Kotoka has, what do you call it?
That was the evening it rained heavily and destroyed the stuff at...
Yeah. But I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You have a chain of gen sets. It's not one gen set. It's not what happened at Heathrow Airport. Heathrow Airport was shut down for 2 days. Because what happened was they found that people had been stealing cables from the substation at Heathrow Airport.
Right.
It was reported, it wasn't fixed. So you saw that the catastrophe that it had for Heathrow Airport last week, am I right? But here at Kotoka, you have a series of gen sets. If one fails, the second and third. Again, if I'm lying, those who are working for the airport call into the studio and say, Ibrahim, you're lying. We only have one gen set covering the whole of the airport. So under cover of these things, then flights can then go. But I'm going back to my main, Felix Ofosu Kwakye. Answer me why the Kavok flight is not on FlightAware or radar. There's another one called Nav Radar. I mean, there are many. The same ones that Honorable Ablakwa was using to track the president's flights.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. You are telling us from Rwanda. Give me the evidence before I call you a liar. There's only one person who's called him a liar, and that was the late Jerry John Rawlings. Because his integrity, I'm talking Felix Ofosu Kwakye, is at stake here.
He's not here to defend himself. So let's deal with the issue itself and then let's leave Felix out.
It's not that when he was talking, was Reverend Tim Fojo there to also defend? You're saying that we'll pick you up and put you in jail. A committee has given me information. I've relayed it so that the institutions work. Now, suddenly you're saying that I should give you the evidence. I'm working on intel. But when you look at the whole construct...
But you're not the agency to carry out the investigation. So once you have the intel, why don't you pass it on?
But I'm just saying that the intel is there. I'm not saying categorically. But he has alerted us that these two flights, one stayed for 13 days, okay? Both left on the same day. We inspected one, which is captured on YouTube. We can all see it, okay? Nana 24. And we saw the jerry cans. And I'm just alerting people to the fact that cocaine, liquid cocaine, can be now put into liquid, oils, shampoo, then later reconstituted.
Yeah.
So if I come with the liquid oil, jerry cans, you inspect it. Meanwhile, I'm laughing. Because now I know I'm scot-free. You know, you search one, you didn't find, I get my tires and I put in my currency in there. I know we're going to come to Sapeman one. 2-3 weeks ago, we were sitting in this very studio and we saw what had happened with the gold and the currency.
Yeah.
These things have to exit the country. If you go to Tema Port, it's difficult because of the T-scan. As the containers go, we're scanning.
Yeah.
Okay? But when you come to the airport and under cover of light off, I'm not saying that's the only occasion, okay? These things happen. We have to be more patriotic and less partisan. And to that, I'm speaking to Felix Ofosu Kwakye, who after 2016 elections when they lost, President Rawlings said he suddenly bought 2 mansions. That's Jerry John Rawlings. If Felix Ofosu Kwakye thinks I'm impugning him, I'm not. I'm just looking at integrity. Rawlings' daughter, Honorable Zenato Rawlings, is his colleague, member of parliament. If she believes her father was lying about Felix Ofosu Kwakye buying 2 mansions after they lost the elections in the millions of dollars. According to Rawlings, Senator Rawlings, honorable MP, should come and tell us that her father was lying and Felix did not buy those mansions.
I'm trying to establish the connection here.
Integrity. Integrity.
What's the connection between Senator and this
I'm
issue?
putting the integrity of Felix Ofosu Kwakye on the table here. I am.
Right.
I'll tell you what I'm doing. Nana 24. I can retract if you want. I don't mind.
Please do.
I can retract.
Please do.
What I'm saying is this. Article 93, I've got it here, and 103 says that
the oversight
Parliament,
responsibility
and
of
what they were talking was to the institutions. How Felix Ofosu Kwakye somehow took a challenge to institutions to mean that the government was being maligned or implicated beats my imagination, hence the integrity link, which is why I'm retracting. And we can go to the core of the issue. What Felix should be doing is saying, Honorable Intim Fuad, just like President Mahama did. I commended President Mahama before my submission. That he said, we've received this information. Oh yeah, let's get to work. But bring information if you have it, the intel. I'm talking President Mahama through Felix Ofosu Kwakye to...
But basically that's what Felix Ofosu has been saying.
But look at the stance. And I alerted you. You are saying that you checked everything, it was in order. So that I've alerted you to that fact that the flight that came in to rescue the first flight, it's not captured on flight away.
You seem to know a lot about this.
Because when you give me the topics, I do my work. Adjei, your producer gave me the topics yesterday. What should I do? I'm a politician. If I was assistant secretary to the president,
it's the same assistance that Felix is asking for, that assist the security agencies to do their work based on whatever intel you have.
Good. Now, you can do that. You see, sometimes your message will derail you, the messenger. What you said, Nana Tufo, was beautiful. What Reverend Intim Fuad can say, oh, you're Mate, I hear you, and we'll do that. But your posture can lead someone to say, no, I don't answer to you. Do you get me?
Yeah.
If you want information, definitely we can the committee, not him, can avail you, because the committee got the intel from somebody. Who did they get it from? Those working Ghanaians who work on the ground. When Ruby Ametefe Nayele was arrested at Heathrow Airport, trying to smuggle 12.5 kilograms of cocaine, she was given access to where? VVIP lounge. You remember? Good. And she was arrested, given 8 years and 8 months in prison. How did that information come? Intel. Would someone have said, Ibrahim Adjei, unless you give us the intel showing that Ruby Ametefe really had access to the VVIP lounge. Then she took the cocaine to London. She was caught March 2014 and then imprisoned Isleworth Crown Court. And it's interesting to know that at her trial, General Mosquito, Azedun Katia, went to the trial. You were here, we're all politicians. He flew from here to Isleworth Crown Court. In London, I used to live in Brentford when I was in London. Isleworth, my town, my home, literally 5 minutes.
There's a lot of speculation in all you're saying.
No, you see.
And I don't think it's right.
No, you see, I'm coming. You said to me just now, why did I bring, I don't have to bring Ruby in, but you said to me just now, the question preceding it was what? Have you forgotten?
That if you have the information, make them available to the
I'm just saying,
agencies.
sometimes the information will avail itself. That's why I gave the example that had somebody accused Ruby,
but she was caught in the act. This is an allegation of a suspicious activity.
There were previous flights before that. We discussed the issue at length. Why? In 2014, we were in opposition. So I'm very conversant with the things that I gave out on the various media platforms that I represented. So I'm just saying that somebody has given you intel. You're saying that unless he brings you the evidence, you want to investigate?
No, investigations are ongoing.
And if he doesn't give it, does that make him a criminal? If he doesn't give the information, remember, he was not at the airport. It's personnel giving that information, not only to him, but to a committee.
Very well.
And the way they've tried to make it, if you don't give me information, we're going to pick you up. That's the politicization.